Hey y'all, it's me again, Delightful Soul.
Hey guys, I found this story on Atlanta Black Star. This story was brought to my attention by Cavante Smalls. He wrote this, a very viable claim. Experts weigh in ahead of jury trial for black man claiming self-defense after killing prominent white attorney. Theodore Edgecombe, 31, is just days away from learning if he'll spend the rest of his life in prison or if his self-defense claim will set him free after killing Milwaukee immigration attorney Jason Clearman. According to the police, in September 2020, Edgecombe was riding his bicycle through oncoming traffic on a Milwaukee street, causing Jason Clearman's wife, who was driving their vehicle, to swerve. Edgecombe's lawyer says soon after the initial encounter, the Clearmans and Edgecombe exchanged word at a stoplight, and Jason called Edgecombe the N-word, with Edgecombe responding by punching the attorney in the face before riding away. Surveillance captured the final moments as Edgecombe turns and corners with the Clearmans following him. Edgecombe veered onto the sidewalk. Meanwhile, Jason Clearman got out of his vehicle and approached Edgecombe. That's when he was fatally shot at point-blank range in the head. Court documents said Clearman had a folding knife in his pocket at the time of the shooting, and he was under the influence of marijuana and alcohol. Edgecombe fled the scene and left town and was arrested in Kentucky 6 months later. He also faces bail jumping charges. Edgecombe's defense team says a former Milwaukee homicide investigator is expected to provide expert testimony on police tactics used during the investigation. Legal experts say Edgecombe's case raises questions. If a black person raises influence a self-defense claim, the self-defense claim is a very viable claim based on my understanding of Wisconsin law. However, that taking race out of the equation, clearly if an African American accosts a white man defending himself, I don't think he would likely not be arrested, says Carlos Moore, who's the president of the National Bar Association and Mississippi municipal judge. At a preliminary hearing on January 10, 2022, Edgecombe charges were upgraded by a prosecutor from first-degree reckless homicide to intentional homicide. The defendant took a gun and shot a person at close range. Whether or not that is intentional or reckless, first or second, is something of the jury can consider. Prosecutor Grant Hubner said during the hearing. Edgecombe's attorney, Anik Ahmad, rebuted, saying that we are not alleging that he intended to kill him. He intended to act in self-defense, and intended to shoot those are two different things. Now Mr. Edgecombe is going to face a first-degree intentional homicide charge that carries a mandatory life sentence if he's convicted, and it just ups the stakes, he said. Judge David Borowski highlighted the key questions in Edgecombe's case. The dispute is homicide in the first degree intentional. First degree, reckless, or otherwise, was it self-defense? Edgecombe's self-defense case has drawn comparison to another high-profile Wisconsin self-defense case involving Kyle Ritterhouse, who was acquitted in November after killing two men and wounding another. Attorney Kimberly Motley represents two of Rittenhouse gunshot victims and says the number of shots fired illuminates the big difference of Rittenhouse and Edgecombe case. And she would explain it later on in this video.
Is a viable defense in this day and age for an African American man.
32-year-old Theodore Edgecombe of Milwaukee, Wisconsin is less than a week away from learning his fate in court. Edgecombe faces a life sentence for first-degree intentional homicide for killing Milwaukee immigration attorney Jason Clearman in September of 2020. Edgecombe is claiming self-defense.
Typically, if a person feels that they're in danger of great bodily harm to themselves or others, then they have a right to defend their own lives against that risk.
According to police, in September 2020, Edgecombe was riding his bicycle, reportedly through oncoming traffic, causing Jason Clearman's wife, who was driving their vehicle, to swerve. A bond motion filed by Edgecombe's lawyer says, while waiting at a traffic light, the Clearmans and Edgecombe exchanged words, and Jason called Edgecombe the N-word. Edgecombe responded by punching the attorney in the face before riding off.
So they basically incited a riot. I mean, you call a black person the N-word, and then they still try to get away from you, and you chase them. You're just asking for trouble. I mean,
surveillance captured the final moments as Edgecombe turned a corner with the Clearmans following behind him. Edgecombe veered onto the sidewalk, and that's when Jason Clearman got out of his vehicle and approached Edgecombe on the curb. At that moment, Edgecombe fatally shot Clearman in the head at point-blank range. Court documents show Clearman possessed a folding pocket knife. A toxicology report indicated Clearman was also under the influence of marijuana and alcohol. Edgecombe left town and was arrested in Kentucky 6 months later. He also faces bail-jumping charges. Legal experts say this case raises questions if a black person's race influences a self-defense claim.
the self-defense claim is a very viable claim based on my understanding of Wisconsin law. However, if that's taking race out of the equation, clearly, if African Americans had accosted a white man and the white man defended himself, I don't believe the white man would have been arrested.
At a preliminary hearing this week, Edgecombe's charge was upgraded by prosecutors from first-degree reckless homicide to intentional.
The defendant took a gun and he shot a person at close range in the head. Whether or not that is intentional or reckless, first or second, is something the jury can consider.
Judge, just for the record, we are not alleging that he intended to kill him. He intended to act in self-defense or intended to shoot. Those are two different things. And now Mr. Edgecombe is going to face a first-degree intentional homicide charge that carries a mandatory life sentence if he's convicted. And it just ups the stake.
Everyone pretty much agrees on what occurred. The dispute is whether it was a homicide, first degree intentional, first degree reckless, or otherwise, or if it was self-defense.
As Edgecombe's case gained more attention in Wisconsin, comparisons have been made between his case and that of Kyle Rittenhouse, who also claimed self-defense and was acquitted in November after killing two men and wounding another. Kimberly Motley represents two of Rittenhouse's gunshot victims and says there's a big difference. Most notably, Rittenhouse shot his victims several times, while Edgecombe delivered one shot.
To me, that's a clear question of, or a clear sign that can veer more towards that he actually was trying to defend his life. He wasn't trying to unload his clip on somebody.
The jury trial is scheduled for January 18th. Reporting for Atlanta Black Star, I'm Cavante Smalls.
Mr. Cavante Smalls for bringing this trial to our attention. We do not hear of it on mainstream media. And another thing I want to nitpick at is the pictures that were used, especially the arrest picture that they used for Theodore Edgecombe. His hair was wild. He was wide-eyed, looking scary and everything. Meanwhile,
Edgecombe veered onto the sidewalk, and that's when Jason Clearman got out of his vehicle and approached Edgecombe on the curb. At that moment, Edgecombe fatally shot Clearman in the head at point-blank range. Court documents show Clearman possessed a folding pocket knife. A toxic
is to say the N-word. But that's neither here or there. You know, many times I can guarantee you everybody who is driving and who has driven before has swerved, made mistakes because of other people. Yes, you get angry and everything. You say things, you do things, but it's just a limit that you go to a certain extent. And you go to those limits because merely you feel as if you will get away with it. And you can get away with it. Okay, you swerved. No one got hurt. It was just something aggravating. And everybody know if you are a Caucasian person and calls a black person the N-word, there is going to be some type of confrontation, whether it's verbally or physically. So you need to be prepared for this. And when Edgecombe turned the corner to advance and go ahead of Clearman, he should have left that alone. Like literally left that alone. But instead, we tried to do these little macho things, and I don't know whether he was encouraged by his wife. Evidently she was driving. So I would have just let that go at that moment, because you never know how things would turn out. And you only followed him to harass him. I'm very sorry that he lost his life, and I know that his family is hurting over this. But in many cases, that this whole situation can be a learning situation for all of us, experience for all of us. But I would expect his wife to have thought a little bit better, knowing that he was under influence of marijuana, of alcohol. I don't know whether she knows for sure, that's allegedly, but at the same time, you were with him during those moments and probably know of his activities. You should have driven, kept straight, and driven the other way. But the interesting thing here is that, can a black man use the self-defense claim in this case? The prosecutor already saying that the defendant took a gun and shot a person at close range, whether or not that is intentional or reckless. Well, here's the deal. That would not have happened if his wife would not have followed him. Clearly on the video, it shows him, Mr. Edgecombe, fleeing the situation. And like that attorney said, is that he fired one shot. He did not empty his clip. And see, this is why this case, Edgecombe self-defense case, has drawn comparison to another high-profile Wisconsin case. You remember Kyle Rittenhouse, who came from another state, and to initiate or incite chaos. Well, y'all tell me what you think. Do you think that he has a viable claim, self-defense? Or do you think he has set and was intended to inflict harm on Mr. Clearman? So what do you think? Or did I leave something out here? Leave a comment below. Please subscribe and like this video. And as always, thank you for watching.